Everybody on another episode of the Real Estate Blueprint Podcast. Doing it on a dual mission today. Austin, more than an agent, as your host with my forever co-host, my Dominicano hermano, John Soto. John does real estate. We in the new year.
Love it.
2025.
I love the new year.
How you feeling so far?
I love the energy the new year is bringing. I love the difference, my motivation, my push.
Yeah.
All good energy in 2025 so far, and I love it. I want to continue that that ride up and up and up.
Let's talk about it. 2025 for real estate, which this like we were talking before the cameras cut on. This year feels a little interesting. Mm-hmm. And when I say interesting, not because like we're off the motivation of like January and everything like that, so on and so forth, but I've been noticing a lot of people being active on both the buyer and sell side over this past week and a half that we've just gotten into the new year, depending on when this episode releases. But I think it's going to be actually a really good year. And the reason why is because while prices are rising, while it's still a gridlock, while we still have a supply issue, I think a lot of sellers have gotten to a point where the multifamily sellers and investors, they've gotten to a point where they're like, we might want to take a little bit of cash off the table and see where else we can put these funds at. Or, hey, I've been living here. I got enough. I want to go back home. Okay. Outside the country, down south, I'm going out west. Prayers out to LA, obviously with everything that's happening now in LA. But it's interesting. I don't know if it'll be sustainable. I don't know if it'll go throughout the rest of the year. But this is the most active January that I've had, and it's only been a few days. What you seen on the mortgage end?
No, like to your point, I think people that were either waiting to sell and then buy because of the rates were high.
Right.
I think people are adjusting like, hey, we're probably not going to see 2% again, 3% again. So they're adjusting and using that equity either for a higher down payment or investing in other funds that seem fit to help them adjust with this new environment we're in. I feel like people are adjusting and getting used to it and not scared anymore.
Yeah. Because we want to kind of have the direction of this podcast, like be able to benefit everybody, that's just getting into the game. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, for people that are established in the game or even other real estate professionals that are just looking for other avenues, because I think as real estate professionals, we've mastered the craft of being the technician in our business, just being able to handle the tasks that are needed from contract to close. Mm-hmm. And I think as all real estate professionals, we have a skill customer service-wise and sales-wise that are transmutable into other avenues, which is why, like, eventually, as we have more and more guests on different avenues or in different expertise where we hope to provide everybody, and when I say everybody, not the masses, but investors that are really people that are looking to buy, sell, invest on a small scale, getting into the business, and then at the same time, just the people that we've been networking with and building relationships with that are already in the business, that we're just looking to create a community and a network that is taking their skills and their subset and taking their talents into other avenues. Talk to us mortgage-wise where you think the industry itself will go for 2025. We've had some rate cuts from the Feds, but they're kind of pulling back on it. Or their thoughts are to pull back on it. What's your thoughts on the mortgage and what's your thoughts on the money end for 2025?
The last rate cut actually brought rates a little bit higher due to the foreseen future.
Interesting.
What they expected. Yeah.
Okay.
I did get a lot of phone calls. Hey, the Fed just cut the rate. But if you look at the yield, the bond actually was going up. So that caused rates to actually increase after that last.
Interesting. Okay.
So that was weird. But for this year, I would probably say, hopefully, crossing fingers. Right now, as we speak, beginning of the year, we're looking around low sixes, mid sixes for FHA. Conventional, you're looking around sevens.
Sevens. Okay.
7.0, maybe low sevens, depending
7.0.
depending on what you're
DSCR.
working with. DSCR, you're probably looking around, depending on your loan amount, you're probably looking around 8 to 8.5.
8.5. And for
Around
everybody
there.
listening, DSCR, give us
Is your debt
and you do
service-
both. You do.
Yes, correct.
We're going to introduce everybody and everybody that's listening, guests. We just want to elevate your thinking and your vernacular when we talk about non-QM versus QM.
Correct.
Just break that down.
QM is a qualified mortgage. That's more like a government loan. Can be your FHA, your VA loans, as well as your conventional loans. So that's all the loan products that are offered that look at, I would say, more documentation to verify that your income, what you're staying, they verify your income more. On the non-qualified mortgage side, you have your DSCR loan, which is not the same institutions that
And
provide
DSCR
that
stands
funding.
for
Debt service coverage ratio. The main qualification for that one is that the property sustain itself.
rental
So
income wise.
basically, rental income wise, that is correct. So if you're getting $5K in rents, the mortgage should be less than $5K with the taxes and insurance.
So if all the investors looking DSCR, you're talking about 8.5.
8.5. 8.0. Yeah, around there.
Okay.
Yeah, depending. And of course, if you have a higher debt service ratio, let's say instead of 1.0, you at a 1.5, you could probably get a better rate, a lower rate.
Of course. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at now. What's the John Does Real Estate bold prediction? I want something that we can loop this
And
clip
get
back.
I would say 3/4 down.
Three
0.75.
quarters down. So FHA 3/4 down, or just any particular one.
All 5.5.
Okay.
FHA
So if we're by the end of the year,
by the end of the year.
5.5.
I'll say by August.
by August,
September.
5.5 FHA, probably 6 conventional.
I know. I was
6.2 quarter, 6.25
around there.
All right, and then possibly 8 or maybe under 8 DSCR.
Yeah, under 8 DSCR.
That's the bold prediction. You've heard it here first. The bold prediction. That's what you heard it first on the Real Estate Blueprint podcast.
Does what it does. Everything does what it does.
We're gonna loop this clip. We're gonna loop this.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna loop this clip. We're gonna loop this clip. So that way, when it happens, we can tell y'all that y'all found it here first, and that this was mentioned months before this actually happened. So, and the reason why it could be while it is a bold prediction, while it could be helpful, is that anybody that's buying right now has the opportunity to refi under the same umbrella with the same said bold prediction, at least in August. Come to find out.
Don't wait and buy then wait.
And then buy then wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So give us a bold prediction. What do you think year to year? How much prices are going to increase, decrease, stay the same? What's your bold prediction for this year?
No, I think the prices are going to continue to increase. Here's where I think here's where real estate, I believe, is going. The beautiful part about it is that crypto and stocks have completely taken over the headlines as far as an asset class on what's,
focus is
exactly the same way that real estate was when we were getting into the business. And so you're talking about 10 years ago.
Yeah. But real estate
and it was
is a little
everything
harder to attain than a crypto than just buy
Correct. And as a depressed asset class, like the fire was on, it was on real estate, and crypto was like tucked in the corner. Stocks has always been there, like so you know what I mean. So there was always, but crypto was like tucked in the corner as far as like that like depressed asset class, and I think that we've gotten at a point where even sellers have realized they're at the top of the market. They're not asking for as much ridiculous prices. At least off market. Like when you're on market, you know that you're going to get the interest and so on and so forth. So the sellers are at a point where they're a little bit more reasonable. A little bit. I'm not saying that they're got all their marbles in place, but they're a little bit more reasonable. And buyers are at that point where they're like, yeah, listen, we're just not going that high. Just not going that high. As a tertiary X factor in the place is the growth over the past 2 years. While it has been, growing at a pretty high rate, the rents have also have had a breather when over the past couple of years they've been able to catch up, at least market-wise, where at least if you're going after a multifamily, you have the opportunity to cash flow a little bit.
But are the prices and rents increasing at the same rate?
No. I think that, no. But with the ability, with individuals that are, at least as far as like landlords, as time goes on, some tenants have not been able to afford the rent, and that's afforded landlords the vacancy, where keeping that unit open has then allowed them to, if they wanted to sell, at least they have a little bit more
bigger list of,
and as a intangible value of, I got a unit open, adds another 35, 50,000 worth of value, because the new buyer can see themselves like being able to start fresh.
You don't have to wait for anything.
Exactly.
Less stress.
So I say that to say that, like, the property I just saw 2 days ago, I submitted an offer to lock it up, and it's to be able to bring it to our particular buyers. It's just to know if the seller's really serious.
Gotcha.
So it's like retail wholesaling, but getting it in a place where whether it's an investor that takes it or whether it's a retail, somebody that's coming in with a fresh mortgage, it's the same thing. But long story short, the guy's, he wants to sell it for about $600,000. It's a 3-family over here in Newark. We'll see what happens. But we're just talking about it and just the potentials out here, off market. $600,000, exactly. $600,000, 3-family in Newark. The property, I think, grosses, let's just call it $5,400, because I think it's $2,200 on the first floor, $2,000 on the second floor, $1,600. So 40, yeah. So in that particular case,
58.
you have, so 2022, so you're at 42.
Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Plus the 6, 55, 56. 56.
That's fine.
54.
A little under 6.
54.
It's
When the
58.
cameras is
It's
on,
58.
man.
It's 58. It's 58. 58.
But in that particular case, for his mortgage, when I was running it, like under FHA, right? 2,200, 2,000, 58. Sorry. So I was at 56. Sorry. So 56, 58, right? 58 is coming in with the mortgage, FHA. 4,600 is coming out at its total.
Taxes are low, then, I'm assuming.
Correct. So taxes are extremely low. Taxes are at $5,000.
So the taxes are low.
Taxes are at $5,000. I think when I ran the numbers, they were at 56 mortgage. I'm sorry, $5,000 for taxes. So 56 for the mortgage.
Would the taxes stay the same if the next?
So excellent question, right? So getting in the particular deal, we take it at face value. Right, and I only say that because the tax has been this low for Lord knows how long that this man has owned the crib, and taxes get reassessed however. But if somebody were to buy it today, at least they can bank on $1,200 or so, $1,000 to $1,200 as far as net profit. Either way, that has not been
possibly just paying $600 if they rent the bottom 2 floors out just for the
correct
side.
If they're staying in it. And there's nothing to do with the basement, right? And we're just talking about just usable spaces, not to necessarily create illegal apartments, but
storage spaces
where you can also short-term rent it out, because you can rent out a room. right? We don't always have to claim these spaces as legally rentable spaces with the city. But at the same time, where Airbnb, short-term rentals, VRBO, you can rent your room out.
Yeah.
You can rent your basement out.
Yeah, I believe in a lot of cities you have to register.
Correct. Correct. It's no problem. But you can still rent that space out,
township,
essentially.
Yeah, they want their cash.
They want their bread. And it's usually you have to be owner-occupant and so on and so forth. But all that to say is that you can make $1,000 to $1,200 off this property. And you know, the thought process is not necessarily on the profit, right? Not the $1,000 to $1,200. But more importantly, to point out the fact and to bringing everything back in, is just the fact that we weren't really seeing numbers where you could plug it in on the front end and see this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like before, it was like
it's tough to see that right now.
Off the rip. Before it was like you're going to be at a 600, and now you got to renovate the basement in order to, you know what I mean, to get into this space. So I would love to see how things go over time, because eventually, with every person that's owning property, we'll see and we'll get to a point.
I got a buyer for that deal though.
I send it. I am making sure that all sellers are completely legit, and ready to bust a move for that very reason. Because, we've been in transactions where although the seller was ready to sell, they also was ready to not sell. And we experience what that looks like psychology-wise when an individual in business has nothing to do with real estate, but in business, that's ready to make a move while simultaneously ready to not make a move.
In the middle.
And that can cause a lot of, so on and so forth. So that's where I see the real estate market going, and I think a lot of people just want to roll funds into potentially, other ventures.
What's the number one venture you think in crypto?
Anything that I think every investor is smart. I think every real estate investor is smart. I don't care if you own one property or 1,000. I think every individual is smart off the strength that they want to put their money to work and they want to get the best bang for their buck. Because of that, I think that we also have gone to a point where we look at it and we look at what we're dealing with as landlords. And I think people, the return on equity number. A lot of people look at cash flow. A lot of people look at cash on cash return, rightfully so. The return on equity. If you have $300,000 in your property equity-wise, but you're making $12,000 a year, which is $1,000 a month, which is amazing. It's amazing. $1,000 a month, bare minimum on each property, amazing. But if you're making $12,000 a year on the $300,000 in equity, what's that? That is...
Multiply that how many years to get the 300K?
And the 12 on the 30 on the 300, right, is only, I think 4% return on equity. So basically that return on equity number means is just whatever you owe versus what you can sell the property for. The difference, what you're making on cash flow, net profit over the course of the year, divide that net profit, that net profit, divide that by how much you're up in equity, and that'll give you your return on equity. So if you're making $12,000 a year and you've held the property for a couple of years, you might think like, yo, I'm doing well, I'm making $1,000 off this property, like so on and so forth. You're technically correct. You're absolutely right. But off the $300,000 that you have in equity, that your house is worth, that you can make a net profit if you were to sell it, we're just giving basic numbers, not including taxes or anything like that. It's just the fact that if you were to take the same $300,000 in equity and put it in a high yield savings account, you would actually make more, guaranteed.
10 to 4%.
Guaranteed. Because you don't have to deal with any tenants.
And some months you could have more expenses and have less than.
You can have more. We have our next guest, He's tapping in. Hold on 1 second. What's up, boss? Okay, come to the second floor. You'll walk right in.
Then to the left.
You'll come into the second floor. So when you walk right into the address I provided, I don't want to put it on the recording right now, but when you when you come right in, you come to the second floor. Soon as you enter that door, come to the left. We'll bring you right in. Okay. No, keep it going, Marvin. But he's up right out there in the second.
Keep it going.
Yeah, no, we good. Camera's on me, so we're gonna keep it rocking at this point. So that's what I seen. And as far as like the return on equity, we have our podcast guest about to tap in today. We got an amazing guest, Phil. But so that's what I see as far as like where everything's going. My boy,
What's going on,
you know
man?
it.
How's it going?
Good. Keep it rolling, Marvin.
What's going on?
How you going up?
Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year.
This is where we gonna red couch talk right here instead of red table talk. We live. We got Armando in the building. Yeah, fresh off the plane.
Man, listen,
Fresh off the plane.
life is crazy right now, man.
Fresh coming out of Florida. He brought some warmth with him. Feels warm in here,
As I should.
as he should.
As I should.
Looks good. Looks amazing.
Doesn't matter which one.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Tapped in. Shout out to Marvin. Marvin's our producer, our engineer here.
A little high.
Put it like this right here.
Yeah, a little bit high.
You good?
Yeah, my brother.
Put it like this, man. That's the camera. Let's focus on you, man. If you ever want to talk to the audience, talk straight to them. Outside of that, you've been here before, bro. It's nothing different from
This
you.
is my first time, yo.
Okay.
No, on the podcast?
No, on this one right
On
here,
this one,
right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
I'm
okay,
just talking
okay,
about
okay,
you.
okay,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? You being an influencer, you tapping in.
Yeah, this is like my third podcast that I've been on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna stop everything. We're gonna bring up what me and Soda was talking about before, but we wanted to tap in, bring our special guests on for today's podcast. Definite staple in the real estate community of the agent and team building aspect of it. The reason why I definitely wanted to bring this particular guest on, he was on the list. But we're thankful because we had a guest that had some logistical issues today, and he was able to tap in with us. And more importantly, for this particular individual, I've been in the game. You know, it'll be 10 years later this year, in the fall of this year, and a lot of the agents know, you know, who does business in the space, and every now and again, you'll catch people that get into the business that make headwinds off the rip, right? And the only reason why I can say that is because we see a bunch of individuals that get into the space, whether real estate agent, mortgage officers, we see a bunch of individuals get into the space and they fall by the wayside in the next 4 months. Quick, fast, easy, right? This is an individual that came to the space, made sure that his presence was going to be known in the space, doesn't care, but cares every cent for his clients. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring you into the introduction. I want to introduce you to Armando Pina. Armando, appreciate you taking the time to come on the show, especially in the last minute.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Really do. It's been a journey.
I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely been a journey. I think.
Bring your mic closer to you.
Let me see. That's good. Yeah, it's been a journey, man. Like I've been in the industry right now exactly 3 years in the industry. Yeah.
It's only been 3 years.
Yeah.
Damn, time flies.
Yeah.
I know, right? So it's on 25 times. So you got in 2022.
So the COVID brought you into the industry? Tell us what
I'll
got you into
tell
it.
you, right? So I was in the furniture industry, right? I was a regional manager, right, for about 10 years. I was in charge of collecting about $250,000 every month. So I started from the bottom up, like, so I did deliveries, sales, marketing, recruiting, And then I worked my way up, all the way up to regional manager, right? So I was in charge of 3 stores, right? One in Brick, South Jersey, one in Rockaway, and then one in North Bergen.
Okay.
So I was commuting. I was commuting for about, I'll say like 3 hours a day. And I did that for 4 years as far as the commuting. It was a lot. It was a lot. But eventually, after I made the owner so much money, he decided to sell the company, and everybody kept their job except one person.
Really?
Me. Yeah.
That was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
no?
it was. It was.
And that means that you was the highest paid there, because usually
Yeah, I
when
was.
companies
Yeah,
outsource,
yeah.
when they
We don't
downside,
need this guy.
You
right?
know how that works. After I did all the dirty work, right? So corporates stormed in, right? It was about like 60 of us in there. They had a big meeting. They interview each individual one by one, and then they kept me for last. And they did offer me a job, right, as a store manager in Trenton somewhere, getting paid 60 to 80,000 a year, working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, Monday to Sunday though. Monday to Sunday, right?
That's insane.
that's 7 days a week.
At the time,
That's 7 days a week.
I was already, I already had owned 2 properties, right, with the money that I got from the career, right? I was getting paid good money. I look at them dead in their eyes, and I shook their hand, and I was like, "Listen, thank you, but no thank you."
Right.
It was like you said, it was a blessing in disguise, because it's like my talents are needed elsewhere. That's what it was.
So how did you find real estate? Like what?
So it's funny you asked that, right? When I first bought my first house, right, in Linden, it was this
When
agent.
did you buy the house? What year?
It was like 2019. Yeah,
beautiful.
2019, right?
Yeah, Linden,
Yeah, the
beautiful.
interest rate at the time was like 3.2, right?
And you're in Linden.
So,
Go ahead.
bought the house. I'm working with the agent that I'm working with. I seen him a couple times. He was a part-time agent at the time, and I guess he was a DJ as well. I seen him literally probably like 4 times throughout the whole transaction.
Ha.
So, cool dude. I'm cool with him till this day, right? I sat down at the closing, I'm signing the papers, and I seen the attorney passing out a check, right? I look at the check, I'm like, I think at the time I think the check was like 7,000 or 8,000. I'm like, hold up. I seen my man 4 times, and y'all just gave him a check for 7,000 to 8,000. Oh, I want to be a realtor too. I want to be a realtor too. So
sounds good.
I took
Sounds good on paper, right?
Sounds good on
definitely
paper.
definitely does. I took the classes, and I ain't gonna lie, I failed the exam probably like 3 times before I got the.
Interesting.
I did. My first 2 tries, I didn't study, right? Because I'm thinking, I know what's going on or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I started panicking, because now I'm like, hey, dude, like you got to get this license. What's going on? So after a while, I studied, I got focused, and I finally got I finally got my license. But that was it. And I was thankful enough for me to be around a person that was already in the industry. So she kind of helped me. She gave me some leads. She gave me some listings.
Oh, shout out.
And I just took off. I remember one thing that stuck with me, right? This person actually booked me solid for my first appointments to show houses.
Yeah.
She actually booked me to see 8 clients on the same day. It was a Saturday. I was a freshly new realtor.
I'll throw you in there.
She just literally threw me in there.
That's a
But
perfect
I made
way
it
of
happen.
learning.
It's a part. Oh my goodness.
I
8
mean,
clients
it
back to
happens.
back. You know how much like
Throw into the sharks.
I made it happen. So long story short, on my first 2 years, 365 days out the year, right? About 700 days, I was working every single day, nonstop, from 8 o'clock in the morning all the way up to midnight, every single day, dude.
I'm not surprised. To be honest with you, it's just cool to tap in and hear the background story. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time, like once we get into this particular setting environment, or by the time that we meet, we already on a particular level of success, and you're kind of hear about the goals of where we're at right now, where we're going with it. But it's always interesting to hear the backstory of it. So because you were, like me and so were talking about, you were one of the first individuals where I see that came in with kind of a team model. I don't know if that's the case because now I'm kind of hearing the backstory now and like how things are started. But you mentioned that you was also like learning directly under somebody.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, it was actually my ex, right? So
Okay.
she was already in the industry, right,
Yeah.
for a couple years. She had all the resources as far as like knowledge, as far as real estate, and I came in as a muscle, right?
Yeah.
So you got to understand, this is a man like myself, right, coming from corporate world, and I was already in charge of collecting that kind of money. So I already had fired and hired over 500 people. You know, I did
that makes
repo
sense.
collections.
Light
You know,
work.
I've been in the streets, and you know, I come from Newark. I'm from Newark.
Right,
you know,
right.
so once you add street smarts, book smarts, and eventually you find a great mentor,
And the hustle,
like
it's
you're
unstoppable.
unstoppable. That's what it is. You know, and now and going back to the team model. So she had the credentials, right? She was already a brokered associate. She was working, you know, with a broker, of course, and she gave me the credentials. She allowed me to get the credentials so I can start a team, and that's how how it happened. So basically, I was a team lead, literally like 4 months into me becoming a realtor.
That was gotcha.
Yeah.
That was good. Because I was gonna ask, like, if like by the time that you got under her wing,
Yeah.
which is it's smart for every particular agent that's new that's getting under it. By the time that you were like completely up from under her wing, did you go into being as a single agent, or did you immediately just start building the team?
No, we immediately started building
building
the
the
team. Yeah, I started with Remax. I won't say the address, but I started with Remax. You know, I was there for 1 month, right? Because I met with the broker. You know, they talk about the split, you know, the 70-30, you know, they don't give no leads. The broker, they don't have no time to talk to me or whatever. The little 30 minutes out the week while they're eating lunch. I'm like, so I'm giving you 30% of my commission of my hard working that I'm doing, and you don't even have time to say hi and bye to me? No. So, you know, I left. You know, I was there for 1 month. I left, you know, and I went straight to EXP.
To the click.
Yeah.
To the gang.
Went straight to EXP. And, you know, it was very strategic on how I bust that move because, you know, social media was really big at the time, was coming up, like really big time, right? And one of those things that you have to understand as a realtor is your number one job is to make sure that you let the whole world know that you are a realtor, right? It's the marketing part, right? So I was looking at EXP. So, you know, it was a few cats, you know, in EXP in Jersey that has the team leads and all that. So they see me in the scene with my energy, right? And they approach me. It's like, hey, dude, I see what you're doing. You know, why don't you join my team and this, that, or whatever? So, you know, I always hear everyone, right? I don't never turn down a conversation. So as I'm talking to these cats, like they, you know, telling me like, oh, by the way, it's 50-50. You know, everything that you do, personal, whatever, you know, it's got to be under my name, this, that, whatever. I'm like, what? 50-50. I'm like, okay. Listen, thank you for the call. You know, I appreciate you, but, you know, I think I could do good on my own, you know. They got mad. Dealing with egos, right? Because they don't know how to accept the word no. You don't know me. I don't know you, right? You extended your arm, like you called me, you asked me like, hey, can you want to join my team?
Right.
You told me exactly what you offered and what you definitely don't offer.
Right.
And I just said no, right? Respectfully. There's no need for you to get mad. But some of these cats, they got mad when I told them no.
What's the name of these individuals? No,
I can't,
I don't want to be the Charlemagne. I don't want to be the Charlemagne. I'm trying to create the real estate breakfast club. Listen, you know, I'm like, who? Like, no, I can't.
I won't do it.
Are they still around?
Of course not.
Yeah, they still around. They still around.
Are they still doing better with you out, like without you on the team?
Listen, man.
We're just gonna say no.
Okay, you answer the question.
There we go.
Yeah, you answer the question.
You got it, John. I know you had a question.
So talk to us about, all right, so you started building the team. What was next after that?
So I actually end up opening up EXP branch office in Elizabeth.
Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Dude, this is all within 4 months of me being a realtor.
Which is why, again, like...
you got fired, got a realtor, 4 months?
Yeah. And once again, let's not forget how I was able to do all of these things, right? You know, my ex, she had the credentials. She's already a broker associate. Okay. So it was a combination of both, right? So she expedited that, right?
Yeah.
Because for you, especially in EXP, for you to become a team lead, you need to have a certain volume before you become a team lead. So she had that volume prior years working with Remax before she did the switch to EXP. But after we got the office, we started getting agents. Now it's business partnerships that she already had. Right. And then, you know, you got to understand, I'm a businessman, right? I don't know much about real estate at the time, but I understand mathematics, right? I don't care if you're selling, you know, shoes, if you're selling houses, furniture, math is math. Right. So some of these business partnerships wasn't adding up, right? And then me already having the attitude that I have, right? The relationship didn't go that well, and I just started cutting off those relationships. But these are relationships that was already built by this person that I was dealing with. Right. So things didn't work out, right? And you know, things didn't work out personally between me and this person as well, right? And I just separate ways. We just went our separate ways. So I left. I already had my team, so she started her own team. And I was a brand new team lead 6 months in. I didn't even know how to write up an offer. And I was already a team lead on my own now, on my own, no help from nobody else.
For sure.
And now I'm in here doing what I'm supposed to be doing. 4 brand new agents, young, no experience. Some of them, you know, they had the drive, but they didn't have the time. Some of them have too much of a time, but they didn't have the drive. Right. You know? And it didn't work out, but it didn't work out for the team, for those agents, but I always kept my team. Every money that I made, I reinvested right back into my business. I was working, you know, from sun up to sundown, you know, being on the road from 8 o'clock in the morning till like 7, 8, 9 o'clock, go home, write up offers from 9 o'clock p.m. all the way up to 2 o'clock a.m., you know. Now, meanwhile, I'm still learning the whole, you know, systems and things like that, and so many different terms and, you know, different pre-approvals. Right. And I did it.
And he definitely did. I want to shout out Armando because he when we had our brunch in real estate last year, the very, very, very first event, you know, he took his team. We had never met the individual, you know, a day in our life or anything like that. And I was out one day talking with the individual, and I was like, hey, listen, we're doing this real estate brunch and so on and so forth. And she's like, you know, listen, my team lead had just told me about this real estate brunch. Is it the same? So we bring out both of our phones and we're comparing. I'm like, yo, that's the one. Like, who told you to come through? And she's like, yo, here's the guy, so on and so forth, yada, yada. And I think I remember reaching out of just like, yo, I wanted to tap in with you. I just appreciate you for showing love. Where, you know, obviously there's no connection. There's no anything. But to attest to it, you know, he was in a mindset of like, yo, we about to take over North New Jersey by storm. My team and I are about to do this, and, you know, we're about to divide and conquer, and that's exactly what they did. So, you know, major shout out for telling the team off of something that you know did not have to do, and that created the whole entire friendship from there. And you know, from there I was like, listen, is everything that you're throwing or whatever the case, I'm gonna tap in, I'm gonna support without a doubt. So I 150% believe it and have witnessed it. So let's do this. How are we looking on time? Let's do this. So you've done this in New Jersey. And you're a snowbird.
Yes, I am.
Right? So you spend your winters in Florida. Is it just Florida?
For now it is.
For now it is. All right. So in the winters, he says peace out to New Jersey, goes on to Florida. And now you're replicating the same model that you did here in New Jersey, and you're doing it in Florida now.
Yeah, I am.
Run me through that. What we got?
It's funny, right? So
and what's the goal for 2025?
I bought my house in Florida literally like September, right? So the deal, let me explain to you how tedious this thing was. 2024 was for me, right? I go to Florida, landed. This is beginning of July, first week of July. I land in Florida on a Thursday. Look for houses on a Friday. I had to see about probably like 10 different houses. I submit 5 offers on a Friday afternoon. I get 2 offers accepted Saturday morning, and then I choose the one, you know, the house that made more sense for me, and I flew right back to Jersey on that Saturday afternoon.
What city is this? Because clearly you're not. I
So
mean, for New
I'll
Jersey,
tell you,
we're not dealing with multiple bids.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
in
the
Polk
inventory is different.
Much
When I get-
different than it.
Yeah, when I get my clients in Florida, they get the offers accepted.
Yeah.
And was this? Well, this also
So-
had to be the time where I think Florida had wound up like dropping 45% over like the course of last year or whatever the
Yeah.
case.
So I'm in Polk County, Polk County, Polk.
Polk County.
Yeah.
What famous cities, more recognized cities?
You have
What we got there?
Lakeland.
Lakeland, Florida.
You have
Okay.
Lakeland. You have Davenport. You have Bartow. Winter Haven.
Winter Haven.
Lake. A few other that
No
I can't
problem.
even name right now.
Well, we
But,
from Newark, so we good. As long as we got
and
the.
that's what drew my attention to that county is the fact that Polk County is the most moved in county throughout the whole United States.
Interesting.
Yeah, these are facts.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like older population or
So
just
there
mixed?
is a combination of both. What's happening right now is the older population, they are selling their homes to move into smaller homes, right?
That's strategic.
And now you
move
have
right
the
there.
younger crowd, right? Anything between the 20s to the 30s, right? They can't afford to buy these houses for 400 and 500,000 in Orlando, Tampa. So now they come to Polk County with the price point is anything between 200 to 350 to 400 and up, of course. But
For like a regular single family.
single family, yeah,
Because there's not
200,000.
many multi-dent families down in,
it's
in
not,
Florida,
no,
right?
No,
Okay.
it's not. And then the beauty of it is,
Oh, you're right in the middle too.
yeah,
Like,
right in the middle. That's another
yeah.
reason why I pick Polk County, because anytime the tornadoes hit,
You just miss it.
I miss it. I actually end up getting hit with the leftovers of it.
And like the rain, like regular rain.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Okay. So what has you in Florida? Like, what made you go into Florida? Do you have family down there? Or?
I'm a single parent, right?
Okay.
I'm a single father. My two boys, age 15 and 12, they used to live with me for I'll say the past 6 years. For 3 years straight, it was just me and them two in the house. Then I got in a relationship. We moved in together. Then we separated. And then after we separated, I was already in the business, in the industry. And I looked at myself. I'm like, dude, like, how you gonna run real estate with two kids? This is not gonna work, right? Especially because I'm on a mission right now, right?
Right.
So I had a conversation with my kid's mother. So, I gave them back to them, and they good financially. I make sure I pay all the bills, and they good every month. And I gave them back to them, and I just went on grind mode.
Right.
That's what I did.
I would have never thought, because like obviously like you're with your two boys. I mean you show love. I was about to say you show love to them like a lot. I would have never thought.
It's a sacrifice. And to really answer your question, my oldest one, he lives in Tampa. His mother moved from Jersey to Tampa.
Gotcha.
And then my youngest one, his mother is here in Jersey still.
Understood.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's what. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what you down to the at least the Tampa
two
area.
two different mothers. And big shout out to them two queens, right?
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for them, I would not be here today.
No, it's real. It's real. Shout out to y'all. We it takes a village.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I like to not to go into that particular echelon just when it comes to the podcast, but I think men find their solace and peace knowing that we're building.
Yeah.
And I don't have any kids, but I'm pretty sure it's always. I know Soda, you have kids, obviously, and I'm pretty sure it's always a difficult decision, right? So I can't relate to y'all on that aspect, but I can relate to y'all off the fact that like we're all men here, and I know that sometimes it's just like, listen, there's gonna have to be some sacrifice that's involved. Because that's where we truly feel like we're serving our purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
You
know what I'm saying?
And to go back to what you were saying, the main reason why I decided to buy a house in Florida is because, my oldest one, he's 15, right? So he's in Tampa. If I'm only focusing on making money, 3 years from now, my oldest one would end up resenting me because I'm not around, right? So he need a father figure. And that's something that has been missing throughout these years, which is that masculine energy, the fathers being around their sons and daughters and things like that. 100%. So that was the main reason why I bought the house, down there in Florida, because I can always come visit him, right? But it won't make sense, right? Picking up my son and going to a hotel or going to an Airbnb. No, they need to have, their
Some
own
stability.
room, stability,
Memories,
memories,
Yeah.
So, and that's what I did. So I picked a peculiar house to buy, which is, in Polk County, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, has a huge pool. The backyard is almost the size of a football field. And I even have papaya trees in my backyard.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I do.
Papaya.
And
Listen.
that's what I did. Like, listen, I bought the house, fixed it, remodel it, like literally like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When I first bought the house, I went through the storm, the hurricane that they had. What's the name in Florida at the time? I slept for 2 weeks straight. I slept in a blow up mattress. No curtains. One of the windows was broken, and I went through that storm. Like,
Because you had just
I had just
bought the buy.
purchased the property.
So it wasn't even.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything.
I couldn't do anything. I was waiting for the contractors. And be aware of Florida as well. Like, it's a state of scammers, right? Contractors, they flake on you like 24/7. I went through 20 different contractors in 2 weeks for me to get the job done that I wanted done to that house. Yeah.
It's even
There's
worse
no
than
Home Depot little guys in the way.
No, they had a few of them, but their time is already being consumed with other jobs. So, and that's how they eat down there, right? So they take hours and bodies from one job to take it to the second job. Then they take more bodies and hours from that job to the third job.
Yeah.
And next thing you know is it creates a big commotion. Like, and you got to understand, I'm fairly new in the state of Florida. I don't know nobody down there, but I made it happen. Like, I'm from Brick City, my brother. So,
right.
If we make it out of Brick City, you can make it out of everywhere.
Nah,
So,
same thing. We're driving in New York. If you can drive there, you can drive anywhere.
Yeah, that's what it is. But, that's what I did. So now, Christmas, I went back home now because I could call Florida home, right? I got there December 16th, furnished the house, me and my 2 boys, and I was there from December 16th until December 29th. Dude, besides spending time bonding with my children, right, and, building up, putting up together the Christmas trees and the gifts and all of that, I was able to recruit 5 agents for my team in Florida, like in 4 days.
That's what I wanted to rap about.
In 4 days.
What does that look like? Because, like, for people that, we're eventually all going to get into a space where we're building out our teams and just having individuals to kind of take over the load that was once on our backs. How did that come about? Was that more you attracted them? Was that more that you actually physically and proactively went out to recruit them?
It was a combination of everything.
Okay.
Right? I'm really big on energy. That's just who I am, right? So people felt my energy, right? They knew my energy was different. I got some connections down there with lenders as well, right? Davenport, which is, I'll say about 30 minutes away from where I live. And then, one thing attract the other, agents started to see, my energy. They start to feel my energy. So agents started to see me on Instagram. And I came and I sat down with a few agents right before, I flew to Florida. I already had set up a meeting. I created a flyer. I'm having an event. I'm teaching people about virtual assistants and things like that. This is not a recruitment event, right? But we will talk about whatever you want to talk about. And the question that I asked was, are you happy where you at?
Questions always.
And the second question was, what do you need?
Right. That
was it.
As we start our descent here, go ahead, Soto. I'm gonna prepare these last.
So what's next? Are you trying to build more in Florida, more in Jersey, or both?
That's
and
a
what other
question.
states you have in mind?
And which state, transaction-wise, do you like the most?
Honestly speaking, I think transactional wise, I like Jersey the most. Right?
Interesting. Why is that? Over
because the dollar amount is a lot higher than Florida in certain neighborhoods.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Some neighborhoods, yeah.
But at the same time, I cannot take no credit away from Florida agents because they have to work probably 3 times harder than agents in Jersey because the median price point over there, and definitely in Polk County, you're looking about 200, 300, 350 tops, right? So for them to make the same kind of money that we making in Jersey, they would have to sell 20 to 30 houses compared to us selling probably like 12 houses, right?
Well, I don't feel no sympathy for them. The only reason why is because that's the same argument for us in New Jersey, whereas the individuals that can be in Newark or East Orange easily and sell $1 million 2-family or 3-family is the same thing as us that, we offload maybe $200,000, $500,000, $600,000 properties.
Yeah.
Same thing. We got to work twice as hard for the individuals that just sold the one or two,
Same thing when it comes to luxury.
And that's in Newark, right? That's in Newark and East Orange. We're not even talking about the individuals that's in Montclair, West Orange, that they sell $2 million houses a year.
Don't get me started, my brother.
Exactly.
Don't get me started.
So I don't feel no
why,
sympathy
right?
for them. But transaction-wise, though, like legit, like from contract to close,
to close.
which process do you like the most?
The process, I would say Florida.
I feel like every process is a little bit quicker.
Except for that home insurance portion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I was going to ask you how much for the insurance.
It's a whole different ballgame.
I can imagine.
And that's another reason why I started by saying, the state of Florida, like, some individuals,
imagine.
like, so with the insurance in Florida is very tricky, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful to make sure that you get the right coverage, right?
Sure.
Because now you signing papers, you know that your insurance, let's say it's $1,500 or $2,000 for the year, and you thinking your whole house is covered, right? And next thing you know, you're not covered for flood, right? Next thing you know, you're not covered for so many other different things. So you have to read the papers. You have to read. You have to understand what your coverage allowed you to, what the coverage allowed you to claim and what doesn't allow you to claim, right? And then for a lot of people that want to buy a house in Florida, I'm telling you right now, if your mortgage is $3,000 or $4,000, you always have to add an extra $1,000 to that monthly bill, not towards the mortgage, towards the maintenance.
And
some communities have maintenance.
No,
as far as the HOA,
no. I'm not even talking about
so
HOA.
You talking about maintenance? Are you talking about maintenance after?
Listen, I just told you that my backyard, we have papaya trees in my backyard, right?
So just the maintenance of just like
Can you
having
imagine
a
how
random
much it
fruit
costs
tree in the back.
for you to cut your lawn, like your grass? Like I'm talking about. I have land in the front of the house and in the back of the house.
I'm thinking about
right. That's the type of maintenance that I'm talking about, right?
You gotta keep the football field. You gotta keep the football field maintained.
You have to
keep
right?
it green, baby.
You have to, right? And then, what's the next step? Now you have to worry about your utilities, right? Because it's supposed to be hot all year round. Mm-hmm. So now your AC is on 24/7. And then with utilities, everything is included, right? So you have the garbage pickup, you have the electricity, you have the so many the sewer and all of that. All of that is together in one package.
Right.
So that bill can run you anything between $300 to $600 to $700 a month if you don't know how to handle what if you don't know how to budget and if you don't know how to shop for the best prices versus quality. Now, on my case, I have a pool. That needs
pool maintenance.
Pool maintenance, right? Mm-hmm. So next thing you know, you got to add an extra $1,000 a month for maintenance. It's not it is as easy as a lot of people think, but at the same time, you need to be prepared for it. You have to adapt, right?
Well, this is why Rick Ross, it makes sense, which is why Rick Ross at the Promised Land over his mansion down in Atlanta cuts his own grass. And I think he saves like $1 million a year, $2 million a year from cutting his own grass. Yeah, 50 Cent was like, why are you so rich and cutting your own grass?
Right.
But that's another story. But at the end of the day, it does make sense.
Yeah. But to go back to your question as far as what's next, right? I have the Pina Group, New York, right? I have one agent that actually is going to join my team next week in New York. I already have one agent that joined us. He's been with us probably for 2 to 3 months now. He's licensed in Jersey and New York as well. I just became a sponsor for the NY Mixer. Right. Okay. Shout out to Curtis Qual.
Curtis Qual.
Now I'm a sponsor.
Shout out to Club That. I know she's out there heavy.
January 29th, I'll be there. And I'll share. I'll spill the beans a little bit. And my next state would it be North Carolina?
The New York Knicks are January 29th. Let's
25th.
May 25th. Usually it's on a Tuesday, no?
Yeah, it's on a Wednesday.
29th.
Yeah,
okay.
it's the 29th.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap in with that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Armando. Listen, just tell people where they can find you at, both on like whether they're looking to do something in New Jersey, whether they're looking to do something in Florida.
So you can find me in social media, Instagram, the Pina Group, Facebook, Instagram. You can actually reach out to my email, armandopinanj@gmail.com, or you can actually contact me directly on my cell phone, 973-820-6330.
The lovely part about it, listen, we don't. There's more than enough business going around. I've never been ashamed on bring other successful agents that's killing it on the ground. I've never been worried about business spreading too thin, because at the end of the day, once this podcast is over, no matter what real estate professional you are, it only depends on what you do after the cameras are off. That determines your success in this particular business. So it's always a pleasure bringing up other successful agents to tap into the grind, just because I want other agents, real estate professionals that are either in the space or are starting to get into the space. That there's always another level for you to tap into, and that's why we have this particular podcast here for all echelons, no matter where you're at in the real estate space. I'm good. Soto, do you have anything last?
Oh, as well, man.
Thank you, my brothers. I appreciate you guys for having me here. And I have one message, right, for a lot of agents out here. Stay productive.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll elaborate a little bit about stay productive, right? Don't pay too much attention to social media, right? Don't rush the process. Don't rush the process.
Yeah.
You have to struggle, right? So you have to wake up a few days in the morning, and you seeing that bank account is negative. You have that one deal that you're waiting on to close tomorrow, because you got all these bills that got to get paid.
Yep.
That deal got to die. It will.
For you to, yeah.
It got to die, right? You have to be in here knocking on doors. Wintertime, become that hustler that you need to be, because a lot of people are scared to come out on the cold.
Yep.
That's when the opportunities out there. Summertime, let everybody go down the shore and have fun, and you hit the ground running and go show these houses.
Yep.
Right? And just
So true.
go through it, right? A lot of people say it, fake it through you make it. In reality, needs to be go through it till you make it, and be real about yourself. That's it.
Listen, man. Everybody here has experienced that at one point. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people take their money as an indication of who they are as a person.
Nah.
And they just don't realize that, like, it's first off, it's a numbers thing. It's an addition subtraction thing on a month in, month out basis. And as entrepreneurs, as real estate professionals, you got to plan out in quarters. And a lot of people are just so used to the 9-to-5 lifestyle that, not that there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just as far as conditioning wise, that if no money comes in for the month, that all of a sudden you ain't shit, you're terrible, like you don't work hard, you're lazy, like, and it's just not true at all. And to your point, I got you, Marvin, and to your point, it just once you get to a space where you're about to